Welcome to the Scariest Things podcast, your gateway to the trends and tropes of the horror genre. This is episode 128, and today we are recapping our top 5 of the halfway mark of 2021. And I'm your host, Eric Lee. I am joined, as always, by my cohorts,
Mike Campbell
and
Liz Williams.
And
so the top 5 of the first half of 2021 is really 15 films.
And you take the square root of that.
Yeah.
Log 5.
Just want to make sure how many we're talking about here.
Yep.
We're talking 15 films.
15 films total. But
15 of the best.
We might probably have some crossover.
Overlaps. We may have
Oh
overlaps.
yeah, no, we probably will.
So,
but you have
could be 5, could be 15. We don't know.
But you have 10 backups though.
I have 2 backups. There's no backups. We don't need to do backups when we're doing this. We're just comparing these things. Yeah. So, but
how would you guys characterize how 2021 has shaken out? Are you seeing any themes emerging? Are you seeing any thoughts or ideas or anything? Because I'm seeing smorgasbord.
Well, I think one of the things that I've noticed is that we're getting a run that they had a lot of movies that were queued up for last year.
Right.
The studio productions are coming out now.
But we've been doing that for 2 years, though.
Right. Well, I mean...
One of mine we talked about in 2019 as I was looking forward to in 2020 and came out in 2021. So.
Yeah, I think this is... because we had a run where I saw a studio release because I'm dying to get to the movie theaters,
right?
And so that
how many have we seen together? We've seen two,
yeah, and then I've seen
which we might be talking about. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
we might. But I almost did 5 weeks in a row because this week last weekend was Old. And then I think you and I talked about this, and I was like, I don't know if it's really a horror movie. And
have you seen Old yet, Liz?
Did you? No, I want to see it, but I don't know if I want to go to the theater to see it.
That is a Shamhammer production, and that is a total roll of the 20-sided die as to what you're going to get.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It could be great. It could.
I hear
stink.
There's a twist. I mean,
Of course, it's got a twist. it's like,
there's a twist,
and they're all from Mars.
Well, you know what I've been hearing about it is that the twist is you're going to get hoodwinked because it's getting sold as a horror film, but it's really just barely a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, well, the advertising, I think the like one of the testimonials that they give is the scariest beach movie since
scariest beach movie.
So it's like, that's
Jaws wasn't even a beach movie.
What happened to Blood
Beach?
Yeah. Or Dagon. Come on. So that's I think that's what I picked up on was that they held back on some of these productions.
Right.
Spiral. From the Book of Saw.
Yep.
They held back. We're going to get Halloween coming up.
Right.
I love how when held up.
I love how when people say the Book of Saw, it always sounds like sort of like a biblical reference, and I'm like,
it is.
What? It's like what are their books of? Is there like a deeper, darker revelations in the Book of Saw?
This is second Saw, and lo, there was eye gouging. Right? So, but I think that some of the other things, and I think similarly, we've got a bunch of the festivals coming out now,
right?
I'm currently right in the middle of Portland Horror Film Festival,
the best film festival in America.
There you go.
Yep.
Frankly, if I can be so honest.
So that's underway, and then Popcorn Frights is coming up, and it's got a veritable mountain of movies.
Yeah.
I think they've got a streaming festival and an in-theater festival, and they're completely different, and they're running at the same time, and I think there's like 18 movies in each section.
There's a pile of stuff.
Yep.
And a lot of it is pretty unique to them, and it hasn't made its way through the circuit yet.
Yeah. And there's no and that's one of the remarkable things as I looked at Portland Horror Film Festival and looking at their stuff. Portland Horror Film Festival, they've got nine features, right? And no overlap,
right?
And so it's like, all right, that's That's encouraging. So I think my impression is a lot of stuff that's new, but a lot of the stuff is coming now. We didn't get a lot of stuff in the winter. We had South by Southwest.
Oh, I see what you're saying in terms of film festival stuff.
And just horror, the horror movies. I mean, I think there's some stuff that came out on streaming, and maybe we'll be getting to some of that.
We're gonna be talking about one of those films right at the top tonight.
All right.
So
right at the top.
But before we get going, we've got to, I think, give credit where credit is due,
yep.
and it's due much more to these good folks than almost anybody else in the industry. Our affiliate partner, Fangoria.
Yeah.
If for those of you who've been to our site, you may have noticed that we have a Fangoria discount available, courtesy of the Scariest Things. You can. This is the most famous name in horror print media. It's now a premium grade printed magazine, and I just so happen to have the latest magazine here. The cover.
Yep. I know. I got that one too. That was exciting.
Werewolves Within on the cover, which was. If you want to know more about Werewolves Within, it's a fun werewolf comedy. Joseph Perry reviewed it for us.
That's right.
Give it 4 stars. So it's chock full of all of our favorite kind of articles that only Fangoria would be able to give you, like Girl School Ghosts, and exclusives on behind the scenes action. I think they've got the Green Knight, which is something that is currently playing in the theaters, which is sort of an art house fantasy horror film. They do retrospectives. We got something about Let's Fix 3 slasher films, namely Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Shocker. And it's filled with all kinds of stuff, and it purely for the horror fans out there. And so what we have to offer for you is you can go back to the back catalog of their of the most current run, and you can get 20% off, and also on T-shirts and mugs and all kinds of other Fangoria swag if you use the code TST20.
Heck yeah. And what we talked about a couple of podcasts ago when we first announced this awesome partnership was the fact that Fangoria is an incredible reference guide. It's amazing. It's like, for me, it's like watching Repo Man. It's like every time I watch Repo Man, I see something completely different. Like, I don't even know, I'm not even sure half the time if I've even seen Repo Man, and I watch it again and go, what the hell was that? I didn't see that the first time I watched it.
Right.
That's like picking up an issue of the new Fangoria, because it is so cram-packed full of stuff. Yeah. You can pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, and you will still find new stuff over and over and over.
And it's got all those nice gory pictures.
With who doesn't love? Come on.
It's a torso ripped in half. Who doesn't love a torso ripped in half? So, anyways, Fangoria, folks, they are now family.
That's right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So let's get cooking with our top 5s from this year.
Heck yeah.
Why don't we start with Liz?
All right.
Liz, what is your number 5 movie?
Okay, my number 5 movie is a film that I reviewed for Panic Fest, and it is called Keeping Company, directed by Josh Wallace. And speaking of Popcorn Frights, you will have the opportunity to stream this one at Popcorn Frights. It's going to be one of the features playing in their at-home version of the festival.
Yes.
And this one is about some door-to-door insurance salesmen who pretty much, I want to say knock on the wrong door, but they don't. They get into a car accident with the wrong guy, and he doesn't have car insurance, so they're going to sell it to him. And but he is the wrong one, and he's got something going on in the basement of his creepy house, and this turns into a little bit of People Under the Stairs meets Motel Hell, but set in the insurance world. So it is very fun and very funny. And
so the question, Liz,
yes,
because nobody really likes having
insurance
door-to-door insurance sales.
right, yeah.
Do they? Are they fun, obnoxious, but sympathetic characters, or are they the type of people you want to see horrible things happen to?
No, they are fun and sympathetic. but they're starting to lose their shit because no one wants to have door-to-door insurance people coming to them. So, they're trying real hard to make a sale. They've got a ball-busting boss who is pretty much pitting everybody in the company against each other, saying, if you just do this, you'll be the next manager. And
Oh God.
so these two gotta get that revenue up, and
Sales.
they literally run right into their next customer, but he turns out to be the wrong one. So I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on the scariestthings.com 1T, and it's fun, funny, creative, and very, very silly. And it won the audience choice for best feature at Panic Fest.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
So-
cool. Very cool.
Everybody will enjoy it.
And where is the
company.
streaming again? Keeping Company.
Right now, it's still on the festival circuit, but
Okay.
you'll be able to check it out at Popcorn Frights.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Very cool.
you can do a pass or individual tickets.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
check it out.
I suspect this is going to be one of those kinds of things that's going to be a hit on Shudder.
Right.
I think
Right,
it's-
right.
Yeah,
it
it's
has a
perfect for Shudder.
kind
Yeah.
of a mid-brow
Right.
Yes.
Right.
crowd pleaser kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Eric, what you got? Number 5. Go.
I am bringing up the opening movie from the Portland Horror Film Festival this year. But it's an old.
What?
It's a
the zombie thing?
no.
Oh,
not-
I wasn't
not
there
that
on
one.
Wednesday.
No, yeah, Mike
I missed
the
one day.
the first day. This is actually it's a very familiar story. This is The Turn of the Screw.
Oh, right.
Cool.
Which is I think the production they recently tried to do a version of the turn of the screw,
which was not
a
which was
modern
not a-
update called
which
The
was not a-
Turning.
which is not a trauma film.
No, and it's not a very good film. And I think part of the problem is the movie's supposed to be about the governess in the turning, and then there was the star power of Finn Wolfhard as a petulant teenager,
Right.
but it just didn't work. And this one is it's a classic Gothic tale,
Yeah.
and by Henry James,
Right.
written in 1898, and it is one of the touchstone ghost stories of all time. I think you'd also Haunting of Hill House
Right.
would be similar. And in
I think
fact,
Bly Manor is
yes,
the turn of the screw.
yes,
Yeah.
it is. And
Yeah.
so that's that's Netflix, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan.
Yep. And so I haven't caught that, but now I'm intrigued to see it. The twist here is that this is actually there's an actress, a young actress who comes in as a last minute substitute for the previous lead who was playing the governess in The Turn of the Screw as a stage production in Wellington, New Zealand.
Right.
And so this is their final dress rehearsal. They drove her in through the rain to show up to do this last ditch rehearsal, and she's looking for her big break, and she says, "Well, what happened to the last actress?" It's like, "Well, she had a breakdown." And it's like,
Oops.
okay, but this is the prototype. Old haunted. There's 2 children that are orphans that she has been assigned to be the governess for, and they are interacting with ghosts. And it's like don't talk to the ghosts.
So it's not the play that drove the previous person crazy.
It was.
Oh, it was the play. Okay.
And so
okay.
it's a double layer cake in this way, because what you do is you get
double layer ghost cake.
where what you get is you have the actress going through just she's dumped into the deep end of the pool,
Right.
and the director goes, well, don't worry about it, we're a couple actors short, but we'll just follow the spotlight, and it'll guide you around, and we've got all these don't worry about the noises, that's all, we have this new fancy effects machine, and she gets completely rattled during the performance. It is actually a very straight up performance of the Turn of the Screw.
Right.
And including that you get the 2 kids who interact with the ghosts, and they don't. They claim to not know anything about the ghosts, and
Right.
the ghosts are just they're full of great jump scares with that. But it looks like a stage production because it is.
Yeah.
But it's this double layer of the character thinks that she's going mad, the actress thinks she's going mad, and it all plays together. And it has and for those of you who are not familiar with the story, there's a wonderful tragic ending to the Henry James tale. They play that out, but then there's a second layer of gotcha.
That's third. That's third layer.
It's
third layer of the ghost.
It's a three-layer ghost.
The three-layer cake.
So, anyways, very enjoyable.
Okay.
It is. It's a small production. This one may be hard to find down the road.
Sure.
So a lot of the Portland Horror Film Festival stuff is sort of art house cinema.
Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled.
It might get picked up by Shudder, or it looks like something that AMC or IFC Midnight might pick up. But it's wonderfully acted. It looks fantastic, and the original story is terrific, and they didn't fuck with it. It was like give it straight up, but the modern twist is really cool the way that they do it. So
Shudder, if you're listening, pick it up.
Turn of the Screw,
Yep.
2021.
All right. As the resident wrong turn expert on the Scariest Things podcast, and for those of you at home who are counting, this is technically wrong turn 7, of which I have seen 7 wrong turn films. This is the new 2021, written by Alan B. McElroy, who wrote the very first wrong turn film, and this one stars Matthew Modine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, that Matthew Modine, and he is wonderful in the film. He is really, really wonderful, and this film is radically different than the first 6. It follows generally the same pattern, but it's a very, very different protagonist in this, or antagonist in this case. McElroy creates this really fascinating backstory involving pre-Civil War, this sort of like pre-Civil War kind of utopian Scandinavian sort of witchcraft society that sort of pulls themselves away from both the North and the South, waiting for either the North or the South to pummel the other. And these 12 families retreat to the Appalachian Hills and create this thing called the Foundation. And of course, as we all know,
Right.
The North moved on, and the South, well, kind of moved on.
Never forgets.
But the Foundation definitely did not move on. And so, there are this sort of weird, as I say, sort of Scandinavian magic occult group of hillbillies, but they're not really hillbillies because they're fairly sophisticated. So if you're looking for the kind of the Grizzly Mutant Texas Chainsaw-esque hillbillies from Wrong Turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you won't find it here. You'll find something, as I say, a little bit more sophisticated, and certainly Matthew Modine brings a great deal of sophistication to the film. Don't be turned off by the fact that this is a wrong turn film, because it's really, really good. And I would say the very first wrong turn film is good. I would say 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are like, it's kind of a weird mix.
Hats off to you for actually getting through those.
I know.
It's a weird mixed bag of stuff, but this one is a solid movie, and I'm telling you here, I'm parking a flag very solidly into the ground. This is not going to deviate from my top 10 list at the end of the year. This is staying on the list because it's
Wow.
a really, really good film.
Staking claims.
That's right.
It reminds me kind of like when I saw Puppet Master,
Right.
The Littlest Reich.
Exactly. Yeah. Same
and
thing.
It's like that had no right to be as good as it was.
Right.
It's like it's a tired franchise. What are they going to do new? And it was like, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, like
That was
the first 2 Puppet Masters are great. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12
13
are not good.
No, it's just like it is hot off the stamping press.
Yeah.
Right. It's always great when you see a fresh reboot.
Yep.
A movie that is not on my list and wouldn't it was not good enough to make the list. Tried.
Yeah.
And that was Spiral Book of Saw. They tried.
Yeah.
They tried to do
exactly.
They tried to do an interesting
Might be on
reboot.
someone else's list.
Oh.
Speaking of, all
Okay,
right, Liz, what do you got for number 4?
Hey, would that happen to be coming up?
It's not number 4. My number 4 is the first in the trilogy Fear Street.
Oh,
this is Fear Street 1994, directed by Lee Janiak.
Awesome. So
Another
good.
4 out of 5 for me. So good.
Yes.
I'm seeing things all over the internet of people trying to rank the trilogy, and this one is not ranking higher for most people, but to me, this was definitely number 1.
Wait, what are people putting as the first, not the second one?
That 78, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. The ranking's easy. It's 1, 2, 3.
So what was the?
I
what
agree.
Did the first Fear Street take place in?
We've got Fear Street 1994,
Yeah.
1978, and 1666.
Okay.
Because it's a witch in it, so we got to go back to the old, witch trial time. So
Right.
this one, Lee Janiak directed Honeymoon, which we all liked. That was the one starring Rose Leslie from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like her sophomore effort, and she gets a trilogy from Netflix based on Fear Street. Wow, okay. And I never really read the Fear Street books. I was a Christopher Pike fan. These were my secondary choice, but this has it all. Massacre at the Mall, the 90s, an amazing 90s soundtrack, like perfect 90s soundtrack.
God, it's great. It's so great.
And it was surprisingly gory. I did not think it was going to be that gory. So this gave me everything I wanted right there on my couch. Thank you, Netflix. See what Netflix can do when they put their mind to it and don't make crap like, what was that? Stanley Tucci one.
Oh God, yeah, with the giant bat things. Yeah. Oh God, that was awful.
Bird Box?
Not Bird Box. It was the Bird Box ripoff.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh, that's right. No, that was the one.
They weren't They weren't blind. The woman was deaf, but then there was the stupid giant bat creatures. Oh God, that was terrible.
Yeah, that's the one.
Don't read my review.
Netflix can do good.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did with Fear Street.
Fear Street, yeah.
That is my
Fear
number 4.
So much fun.
All right.
So much fun. Yeah, I love that one.
Yep.
So, my number 2 was from the South by Southwest Film Festival. And we actually got a chance to interview the director, Travis Stevens. This is Jacob's wife. It's an essay on midlife menopausal crisis by way of vampirism.
Crap, I totally forgot about this one.
Yeah. Now, this is... better take a look at your list.
I might have to adjust my list.
So, Jacob's wife delivers great character arcs and engaging acting. Barbara Crampton has been given a real meaty role to bite into, pun intended. And she delivers, I think, I'd say it's her in her career. I thought she was great. And I thought Larry Fessenden is also stellar as the well-intentioned minister, Jacob, her husband.
Totally is.
And Larry actually, and the great thing for both, Larry often doesn't get to play the lead. Right. He doesn't, he often ends up becoming some like schlubby wino or a loser dude or, a victim. And here he actually gets to play a very nuanced character. And this is, it's a movie that shows the stress upon a middle-aged couple. Although Barbara Crampton has, she is an ageless wonder, looks absolutely fantastic for being, I think, she might be in her 60s.
Early 60s, I think.
Yeah, she looks great. And actually, Larry's never looked better either.
Yeah.
Although that's kind of a low threshold. But,
we love you, Larry.
Yeah, I think Larry is a gift to the horror movie industry.
Oh my God, is he ever?
He's he is the next generation's Roger Corman.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because he produces and supports and does the cheap movies and gets directors their start. And I think he
might not be quite as prolific.
Yeah, but I mean, it's sort of, but in the same way. I mean, I think he fills that same role for
You're totally right.
A lot of folks. But in the after talking about all this, in the end, this is a vampire movie,
right?
And in which there is a rat vampire sneaking around. And actually, the funny thing is that the rat vampire is probably the least interesting thing about the movie.
Right.
Eventually, Barbara gets bitten by one of the rat vampires, and she starts turning, and that's a lot of fun getting the chance to see, because she's always trying to cover up with scarves, and she's turning pale. And
even though the rat vampire is played by Bonnie Aarons.
I know Bonnie Aarons was
Volek the nun.
Yeah,
which I didn't know that until after we talked to Travis Stevens.
Oh, you didn't know that?
When he mentioned it, I was like,
who's
wait,
Bonnie
what?
Aarons?
I was like, wait, what?
It's the nun.
Yeah.
So
be sure to listen to our interview with Travis Stevens, though. It is on the website.
He was very generous with his time, and we got a good interview with him. So I think that this is it actually is a bit autobiographical of Barbara Crampton's career, because she was a sexy young starlet, and then when she hit her 30s, she stopped getting some of the better roles.
Right.
Partly because Stuart Gordon wasn't producing as many movies, but she didn't stick, and then so she was out of the film industry for the better part of 15 years, and then came back with You're Next, and that kickstarted her career, and now she's producing movies, and the great thing is that becoming a vampire for Jacob's wife, Annie, is a way. It's a transitional career. It's like, a lot of rite of passage movies are about teenagers hitting adolescence and then getting free of their response, or becoming adults and all the freedoms that has. This is like hitting retirement age and all of a sudden getting the freedom to now do what you want, releasing yourself from the constraints of a marriage gone stale. And it has the possibility the marriage might work out, or Larry might be lunch meat.
Yeah,
it was that's kind of the fun thing, and that would be, hey, give me Jacob's wife too, and find out if Larry made it out alive after the whole thing. Yeah, because that was a partnership at the end, but she's a vampire. Anyways, I had a lot of fun with it because I adore both of the actors.
Yeah,
and I think that it was it was also. I think Travis was also saying, "Don't forget, it's really fucking gory."
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
It is gory, and it's got a lot of kind of splashy vampire effects. But really, at its core, it's a story about an aging couple and what they're going to do with their lives. And being a middle-aged dude, it's like, get it. I totally get it. So, anyways, Mike, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is a little bit of a twist here, because this is a film both from 2021, and it's also a film that is from 1973. This is George Romero's The Amusement Park.
Gotcha.
And I'm not just saying I like this movie because I love George Romero and
do.
worship the undead ground he walks on. But yeah, it's a really, really interesting film. This, of course, you've probably read the review already that we did, and you've probably read up a little bit on it already. But this was George Romero was hired to do a PSA on sort of elder abuse, and what he turned into the Lutheran Services of Pittsburgh was this hour-long psychedelic rumination on the horrors of elder abuse. And this film, of course, stars Lincoln Mazel, who was later on. It was only really in one other film, and that was George Romero's Martin. So they did stick together for a couple projects, but this really fixates on the horrors of aging, fixed budgets, loneliness, health conditions, access to health care.
Back-to-back old person issues.
I know, huh?
I know, yeah.
Maybe there's a trend here.
The funny thing was, Lincoln Mazel, of course, would go on to, when he did this film in 1973, he would go on to live until he was 106 years old and died in
Wow.
2009.
Whoa.
So yeah, he lived for quite a few years after he did the amusement park. But it's a really great film. It's really interesting. They used a bunch of actual senior citizens from a local senior home because George Romero wanted it to try to be as legit as possible. And it's all filmed at an amusement park in Pittsburgh. I have no idea if that amusement park is still standing today or not. I'm guessing it's probably not. But it really, I mean, it obviously hits the nail like way on the head with regard to elder abuse. He doesn't pull any punches. It's not so much metaphorical as it is literal elder abuse and the pitfalls associated with becoming old. But I think the thing that's really cool about it is that you won't see any flourishes, or you won't see any jump forward to sort of Dawn of the Dead, but you will definitely see a lot of the same flourishes from Martin and certainly Season of the Witch. Those will resonate with you as you watch the amusement park.
Now, it sounds like more of a dark drama than a horror. Mm-hmm. Would you say that would you qualify it as a horror movie?
I would for a
horror just because we're old now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, don't hit me.
Well, I mean, that's what I said. I said in my review, I said the world of horror is filled with, ghosts and homicidal nutcases and Pazuzu and everything else, but nothing is more frightening than the prospect of losing your mental and physical faculties and facing the sad and potentially finite end of life. So yeah, it's horror.
Yeah, right. Your number's coming.
Your number's coming, whether you want it to or not.
Right.
So yeah, good film. You can see it on Shudder. They were the ones that resurrected it. The George Romero Foundation were the ones that did the full restoration of it, which was pretty cool. And it is now available for streaming on Shudder. And I think that's the only place you can watch it.
All right.
Huh.
Liz, what do you got?
All right, sorry, but my number 3 is Spiral from the Book of Saw. So Eric gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I didn't see this until very, very recently. I really liked it. I had a good time with it.
I liked the first 15 minutes. I thought,
there was definitely problems with it. I'm not going to say it was like an amazing movie, but I remember when this came, or like buzz was coming out, and I was like, Chris Rock wants to reboot Saw. Like, what? I am here for it because I'm so intrigued by what that's going to look like. And it looked like a police procedural, which everybody who listens and reads knows that that's my jam. I like that. But I also like the original Saws. So I agree with a lot of your points. But I had a really great time with this film. Wayne figured it out in about the first 5 minutes of the movie. But
did he spoil it?
No, but we always say like, okay, this is it, and we'll try to pick like the most weird thing that could be. And turns out, yep.
I will admit that I guessed wrong, and Amy guessed right. Amy also had it pegged at about the 20-minute marker.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, there's no way. It was like, look, now he's dead. It's like, no, I'm still wrong.
So. You know what? I had a good time with it. It's not as good as the first one. It's Darren Lynn Bousman, though, so it's always nice to see what he is doing. And
Darren Lynn Bousman is a total class act.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy.
And I just think that, I don't know, for me it was fun, and I actually liked the less showing of the traps. I mean, Saw has always got, the amazing traps, and that's the whole point of the movies. But I actually kind of liked the police procedural part better because I just like that. And I liked that Chris Rock was not just doing, another Chris Rock and Adam Sandler movie and trying to do something different. Don't get me wrong. I love those too.
I think I would like to see Chris Rock try and do more horror. I think. I think that there were parts of it where, and it was always fun to see the comedian Chris Rock come out on occasion.
Oh, yeah.
And because when it came out, you go, that's right, that's who I'm watching here. But he did, he turned up his intensity level He's a bigger dude than I would have thought. Either that or they cast a bunch of small actors around him because it's like I always thought Chris Rock was a little dude.
Right.
But he's got some real stage presence. And
he really does. He really does.
He can carry a movie. I think my issues was that it got twisty for twisty's sake.
Silly.
And,
I mean, give me a break. Yeah, it's silly. But it was still really fun. It had some good kills. I really liked Chris Rock. He was channeling like a dude that's watched Training Day about 500 times. Wanted to live out Denzel fantasies. But I really liked it. I had a great time with it.
Okay,
it's definitely not going to be for everybody, but I liked it.
I have to do it to be type.
I haven't seen it, so I will be the arbiter of whether Saw Spiral, the book of
Spiral from the book of Saw.
Yeah, I think it's funny actually because Liz and I are on opposite sides of the fence for Saint Agatha,
right?
Which is Darren Lynn Bousman's previous. Actually, no, he's had a movie in between. But his 2018 film, I loved it, and Liz hated it.
I did not like that at all.
So now we're, it's sort of crossing the streams here.
Yep.
All right. But I'll see what he does. I'll always give him a chance because I like most stuff he does.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 3, also from South by Southwest, is an unusual eco horror movie, and this is Gaia. So Mother Earth just may have it in for us, and it's this movie. It's from South Africa,
right?
And it's beautiful. It's quiet. It's creepy, and it's full of spores. In an age where humans are wreaking havoc environmentally across the globe, perhaps Mother Earth will find a way to reclaim a balance that due to human activity has pushed the scales perhaps past the tipping point of recovery. Perhaps Gaia will find a little bit of payback, and perhaps your rooting interest here might not be in the actual nominal protagonist, but in the corrupting power of nature run amok. Man, we got
to redo the Arbor Day episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get this one on here.
This one would totally be on there because there are some South African field ecologists who are going out into this woodland, and it's an unusual woodland because it's actually in South Africa. It's at the tip of the southern tip of South Africa is where this park is, and it's actually a temperate rainforest as opposed to a tropical rainforest.
Right.
So it's full of African plants. It's a very, very unusual looking place. Anyway, so they're taking some samples and the lead Gabby, played by Monique Rockman, loses the company drone just sort of horsing around flying into the jungle, and it runs into some guy in a bunch of who's gone completely aboriginal, and he smashes the drone, and she goes and it's like, oh no. And so she goes to try and find the drone, and it turns out that there's 2 guys who've gone feral. They're actually Afrikaners, so it's not like African bush people. They're kind of like white guys gone native, kind of strange. But anyways, they've been setting traps up all around, and she steps into one of the
spore things.
It's not a spore. This one's not a spore trap. This is a wooden spike trap.
Oh, okay.
And it hobbles her, and
right.
She has no idea what's going on. She stumbles around, and she finds her way into a cabin in the woods, which happens to be their cabin. And these guys apparently they were the older man is a scientist who had been doing research on this ecosystem, and he's gone kind of nuts. But the other thing that's been happening is that the forest has been claiming through fungal spores other people and turning them into fungus people. And
this is going on the Arbor Day list. Yeah, it's got to.
It is. This is
purely based on the fact that there's no other Arbor Day films.
Gaia gonna get you. And it is. It's one of those it has a lot of dreamy kind of elements to it. There are times where it looks like it's a National Geographic kind of close up, and you see this mushroom open up, and then you see all the spores go out, and and her partner goes out trying to find, because her boss is like, I lost my colleague, I better go out and find her. He falls victim to mushroom spores, and it ain't pretty. They just these mushrooms they start getting into your system and turning you mushroom from inside out. Fast decomposition stuff, and then you start walking around mindless like a fungus dude. It's somber, but it's got some good kind of creature feature action.
Yeah,
monsters busting in at night, chasing you around, but it's like hold your breath,
right?
And it has a great ending of involving a moldy cheese sandwich. So, anyways, I'm not sure if this one has hit Amazon or Shudder or anything like that yet. But the fact that it was playing at South by Southwest suggests that it's probably going to get picked up by somebody. There's a lot of stuff that sort of reminds me a bit of Annihilation.
Okay.
In tone.
Right.
It has kind of that gauzy, surreal aspect about it. It's very exotic.
Okay. Okay. Go see
Gaia.
All right. My next film is a film that Joseph Perry first mentioned. I eventually watched it for South by Southwest. Speaking of South by Southwest, and Joseph Perry said, "Don't turn this film off." And I'm here to tell you, don't turn this film off. This is a movie directed by Lee Haven Jones, and it is called The Feast.
I can't wait to see this.
It's so good. I don't think it's available anywhere yet. I just looked around, but it basically just involves a family who decides to hold a big feast in their hyper modern country estate to sort of parade their wealth in front of their family and friends. And they also have sort of an ulterior motive, which is they're trying to sell their neighbors on oil and gas development on their properties, because they have done oil and gas and mineral development on their property, and they're trying to sell their neighbors on it. Meanwhile, there is a young woman that they have hired from the local community who is assisting them with the feast. And that is all I'm going to say about The Feast. It sounds boring. It doesn't sound like a horror movie. Stick with it, because the third act of this film is so bonkers. It's like nothing I have ever seen before. And this feast turns into an absolutely...
Don't say anything else.
Yeah, absolutely insane twist.
Is this going to go on to food horror?
It's like, yeah, just like we should add to Gaia to Arbor Day. This absolutely has to be added to food horror.
We're going to have to come up with a dead list for our food horror.
Yes, food horror. Yeah, and
looks like it's going to be coming out in November. I can't wait till November.
Yeah,
but it's already August.
Yeah, it's good. And much like Wrong Turn, it's staying on my list. All right, Liz, what do you got? What do you got next?
Okay, my next. So my number 2 is The Forever Purge.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We all pretty much agreed on this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5. This was my first movie back in the theaters after 16-ish long months. And wow. It was one that I will not forget my theater going experience. The Purge franchise seems to... I don't know if they have like a crystal ball or something. It's kind of crazy. The movie was made in 2019.
Right.
Like
and it was
before
all
January
about 2020.
6th, and it was all about 2020. I don't understand. I mean, how they do it. But every single one of them is in the same universe. They're a bit different. You care about the characters every time. They are also a little bit of Mad Max, warriors, craziness. I mean, so they're over the top. Yeah. But they...
It's intense.
I don't know how they're doing it. I don't understand how this team. It's directed by someone named Everardo Goat, and I'm like speechless about it. And to be speechless, and I even said in my review, like, I feel like I think I just called a Blumhouse film art. Like, like, the whole thing that I was thinking was we had talked in horror documentaries about horror in red, white, and blue, about like the American horror movie. The Purge franchise, when they make an American, like, talk about American horror, will describe the decade. The entire franchise will decide what is going on right in America for the past 10 years since the original one came out.
100%.
Yeah, it's because it's got the border security issue.
Yep.
It's got the the previous one was a Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Election Day, which I actually watched on video the night of the 2016 election. I was like, I was already, halfway drunk and crying the whole time. And I was like, why am I watching this?
Panic in the streets of New Orleans.
I mean, it was, I just don't understand. And the fact that this is, all in all, when the first one came out, I was like, what a great idea. This is a really creative movie. But they took it, have pivoted, have been able to just be ahead of what is going on. And even though they're kind of ridiculous and silly, they're really freaking good. I mean, it is hard to be able to be both those things.
This was my favorite. This has been my favorite
every time
of the series. Was Forever Purge.
I might agree with you. I always say the first one just because it kicked it off and the idea was so creative. But this would be number 1 or number 2. I agree.
Yeah, it's. I agree with everything you said, Liz. I think it's a really, really wonderful film. I also gave it 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
5 stars. My only complaint, it was such a small complaint, was I really wish they would have taken a slightly sharper tone with regard to in light of the whole January 6th insurrection. I wish they would have taken a slightly sharper tone with that. But otherwise,
but it was made before it was supposed to have been released.
But they have a crystal ball, right? So
yeah, they really did.
They should know all this stuff. Well, no, it's such a good film. Such a good film.
There was a little bit. I think that they pulled back a little bit on the political edge,
right?
Because they had to, or people would have been rioting in the freaking theaters.
they had the Antifa Bandito guys who took out the ranch, and then the what would normally be sort of the wealthy Texas ranchers,
right.
Well, that's what was so great about it, was that they really clear that part of it. I love where they clearly questioned American exceptionalism, and they really made a point of saying, it's not about besting your neighbor and one-upping your neighbor. It's about helping out your neighbor.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such an awesome and such a simple construct.
Yeah.
Right. But what I was thinking also is that movie, The Hunt, got pulled and banned after a shooting. How in the world did this even get released? Yeah. I don't understand how it made it into the theater.
It got released because there was a change in political leadership at the top who wasn't going to complain as much about a movie like this.
Right.
I couldn't.
I don't know. I think in a Trump administration, I don't know if somebody would have put the brakes on that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. I was literally speechless when I walked out, and yes, you're a little bit uplifted at the end, but that was an emotional roller coaster, which I would never have thought I would have gotten from the Purge franchise. So, wow, it was really great.
Yep.
All right.
So my number 2, I'm continuing the trend of sequels.
Oh.
This is a worthy sequel to the science fiction horror modern classic, A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
This is very much, and as sequels go, I think it benefited a lot from having the first one being a massive hit.
Right.
And to the point where they went, go ahead and keep shooting.
And it's better than the first.
I totally disagree. But
sorry.
But I was a fan of the first one.
Yep.
I'm a fan of the second one because what it feels like is it's just an extension of the first movie.
Totally.
It takes up. It's right after the tragic events to take out Krasinski and
Jim Halpert.
Jim gets lunched by a death angel, and forcing Emily Blunt, Noah Jupe, and Millicent Simmons to go on the run. I thought stumbling into Cillian Murphy as who does the classic Cillian Murphy nervous, twitchy protagonist. It's like, do you trust him or do you not trust him?
Right,
All the way back to 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
He's managed to play this kind of odd but oddly charismatic protagonist too. I think it doesn't break as much new ground.
Sure.
Right? It keeps the stakes are high. Now that you have a baby who's gonna cry, and then
Right.
and there's these moments like the Noah Jupe with the baby in the vault, and the vault closes, and all of a sudden he's gonna run out of oxygen. It's like, oh God, and I think what it also proves is Krasinski still got it as a director. That I don't know, they will probably, because Quiet Place 2 also did well, they will probably do a Quiet Place 3, and because it's a money maker.
So you're saying it's the new Wrong Turn.
It could be. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think the Wrong Turn had a bit of a dead patch in the middle. Granted, I've only seen the first one, so I think this is it. It's a. Sometimes it's hard to forget. This is a PG-13 movie, and yet it has all of it's got more tension than most any R-rated movie that you've got. It really, pins and needles, and there are some things where he knows how to set up foreshadowing.
Yep.
With this. Well, of course, classically in the first one,
the nail in the stairs.
The stairs,
and they show it.
It makes
it
comes
comeback.
back, and so does the space shuttle Challenger toy comes back at the very beginning. You get a little bit of the prequel thing, which was a spectacular bit of a prologue. Don't need to probably explain too much about this movie. A lot of people have seen it. A lot of our fans probably are familiar with it. And for those of you who are reluctant because you're afraid of big franchises, this is a good big franchise. This is one that's worth paying money for, and I would like horror fans to support this, because supporting the big ticket ones will allow some of the producers to take chances on some of the smaller stuff when they're done well, when they have a good story and good actors.
Hopefully that is the case.
That is, we'll be hoping for, so we'll be pulling for Halloween coming down here. Halloween Kills.
Yes,
we will. Same reason, because it's like these got to win.
Yep. Indeed.
Got to keep the hot streak.
Indeed.
So that's my number 2. What you got, Mike?
Well, since I followed you on South by Southwest, I'm going to follow you on sequels, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a film called The Conjuring Part 3, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I know you guys didn't like it as much as I did, but I think it is absolutely exciting because it starts with one of the most explosive bang zoom scenes in horror movie history, and it never takes its foot off the gas for the entire 112 minutes. I really liked it a lot. I think Michael Chavez had something to prove after The Curse of La Llorona, which was pretty bad.
Oh, he did that? Okay.
Yeah, pretty darn bad. But I think what's great is, he gives us an absolute, just total thrill ride with Satanism and ghosts and witches and zombies and Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren, not Ed and Lorraine. Ed and Lorraine. Yes.
Yeah.
Ed and Lorraine Warren. Really, really wonderful. I think my only complaint about this, if I was going to say anything, it's sort of the third act, and it's kind of the same problem with the first 2 Conjuring films, because it's a big budget Hollywood film. They got to throw in this big, sort of climactic, good versus evil
battle at the altar
kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, I saw it coming a million miles away, and I'm like, I was just waiting for it the whole time, and there it was. And I was like, I guess you got to do that with these big budget Hollywood films, because these things get the holy hell, no pun intended, focus grouped out of them. And this one did. And, which is not to say it doesn't take, it doesn't take away a lot from the film, because it's coming and you know to expect it.
That's what made the opening sequence so wonderful.
Exactly.
Was that it gave you it gave you the full flourish.
Yep.
In the first 15 minutes.
Yep.
Which was astounding.
Yep. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
My take on this is that it had a lot of wonderful elements, particularly the first act.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was that they sold this as a rip from the headlines, true crime thing, and it's like, yeah, but boy, it was kind of it's like you didn't. Like I was hoping that it was like the devil made me do it. We're at the trial, and they make a big thing about the trial.
Thought. It was supposed to be like a courtroom,
right?
And instead, no, the kid's in the jail, and then he gets a visitation from the ghost in the jail, and it was like, I think that stretches the credibility of this thing when you're trying to make it kind of in real context.
True, and if you do your real Ed and Lorraine Warren research and you research the trial, things didn't quite shake out the same way exactly.
They didn't take the kid out into the infirmary where that kind of thing.
But otherwise, really, really fun, super fun horror movie for 2021, and I hope that they go back to it.
No, they will
again.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are fantastic.
Yep.
So I despite some of my criticisms, it's still a really good movie.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I had it as like a runner-up.
Yep. All right, Liz, what do you got for your number one?
My number one is a movie from 2019 that was supposed to come out in 2020 that got pushed to 2021, and it is Saint Maud. Forgot that even came out this year.
I forgot about this one too. Crap.
I forgot about it to the point where I still haven't seen it yet.
So man, it's
on
good.
Prime.
Yep.
And I have seen it 3 times now.
Woo!
It is so short. I mean, it's
like
90 minutes long. It's so short. I even had to go back to my review and make sure it came out this year because I was like, what even is time anyway? But it did. Came out at the end of January. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It is written and directed by Rose Glass. It is her feature, and it is so freaking good. Wow. Stars Morfydd Clark and Jennifer Ely, and it's awesome. It's awesome. The final shot alone is worth the price of admission for this movie. But if you have Prime, you don't have to pay for it.
Can you give me a simple hook on what?
Yes. So Katie is a nurse who tries to save a patient doing CPR and loses him. So she becomes a devout Catholic, changes her name to Maud, and starts working as like a private hospice nurse. And she gets sent to care for Amanda, who is a choreographer played by Jennifer Ely, and she's terminally ill with stage 4 lymphoma. So Maud thinks that the Lord has sent her to save Jennifer's soul. It doesn't work. Maud gets fired and kind of freaks out, really, and decides that she is the only one that can save Jennifer's soul, whether she has a job there or not. And, religious fanaticism ensues.
Yeah.
And that's what's you got to see it. It's so good. It's a slow burn, though, too.
That's the thing. It's
I
like
in my review, A24 to the nth degree. I mean, this is
okay,
for sure.
High quality art house.
Yeah, and I loved how they bent they kind of bent your preconceived notions about who is good? Is Maud good? Is Maud bad?
Right.
Is Christianity good? Is Christianity bad? Is the choreographer good? Is she bad? And by the end of the film, you're still going, I know there's a lot of religious fanaticism in here, but maybe it's well placed.
Yeah, it's so good. And you could use your Fangoria discount to buy the back issue that has Saint Maud on the cover. There is a fantastic interview with Rose Glass. It's so good, and
you can
lots
save
of behind the scenes stuff,
you do it.
And you can save 20% off it. So
God bless
get
you.
that issue.
God bless you.
I'll do a mic and I'll say this will 100% be on my top 10 of the year list.
This might be on my top 10 too.
It could stay at number 1. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Eric, what do you got for your number 1?
What you got?
All right. Well, I have a movie that's original title was Bumperklief.
What?
And
Are you talking about the barge people again?
No, this is actually so this is a Dutch film, and Bumperklief in Dutch is tailgate.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this was
yeah.
this was the highlight of the North Bend Film Festival, which admittedly kind of a letdown. They didn't have much horror
Yeah.
available to us, but what they did give me was awesome.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate road rage movie that collides with a nail biting home invasion film. It absolutely pours the intensity in a way unseen in many a year. And this is a rude and headstrong man picks the wrong enemy in a highway tailgating incident, subjecting his entire family to the revenge of a nuanced killer who uses rat poison as his weapon of choice. And I think the lesson of this story is don't be a jerk.
Don't be. Yes.
It has a funny way of catching up with you. So Hans, an actor named Joren Spitzenberger, is an impatient man, and that's putting it kindly. He and his wife, Diana, played by Aniek Pfeiffer, and his two young daughters, Milou and Rabin, are traveling to his parents' house to celebrate his father's birthday. It is a high-stress family event. His father is something of an invalid, and his mother is a manipulator, and they are running late. And so immediately we can see that Hans has a short fuse, and he barks at his wife for forgetting her sunglasses, and he yells at the kids for horsing around in the back seat. And they get to driving, and he has got his fancy Volvo Turbo, and he's got it flooring it, going way too fast on the Dutch version of the Autobahn. I'm not sure what that is, but it's on the freeway, and there's a white trailer van or a panel van that's in the fast lane, but it's probably going in kilometers per hour. I'm not sure what it is, but in the U.S., it would probably be going 55 in the fast lane.
Right.
And so he just gets right up on his ass and starts like honking him and flashing, and then starts. If you've ever been with somebody who has road rage, and they and you listen to them like yelling at in the car at the driver in front of them.
Right.
That's what Hans does, and then the kids start picking up on it, and they're horsing around, and he gets distracted, and the guy in the van pumps his brakes, and then that just infuriates him.
Right.
They eventually, and so and it was like near crash, and everybody freaks out, and of course the stress that they're supposed to be going to a family thing. They pull off to a gas station, and the guy in the panel van, who happens to be the guy, this is the serial killer with the rat poison.
Right.
He's an unassuming looking, mild looking guy, but he's like 7 feet tall. He's a really tall guy.
So would you say this is more like The Hitcher, more like Vanishing, or more like Jeepers Creepers?
It's got
in terms of like a
good
it is
selection there.
There's a lot of Jeepers Creepers to the Dad, he's still behind us.
Right.
But he catches them, and he just douses them with rat poison.
What?
And it's like it's
okay. No spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
That's early in the second act. There's a lot of movie left. He's got them on the run, but he also confronts them, and it doesn't help that Hans is a jerk.
Yeah.
Because he goes, "Why did you cut me off?
Right.
Or why are you tailgating?
Right.
That's not pleasant." And he starts warning the children. It's like, your daddy's breaking the law.
Right.
And so he, of course, is flipping out, and he's like tries to take a swing at this guy, and it's like, "No, get him back in the car. Let's just go to Grandma's house." It doesn't go well.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't.
Okay.
It just flat out. It just.
All right.
And
I gotta see this.
And if you've ever been paranoid about that guy's following me, or it's like were you ever a little kid and in the back seat, it's like watching someone's thinking there's something like a spy behind you in the car, but on the freeway. Maybe me.
Sure. Yeah.
But this is
sure.
But the little girls were going, "Dad, he's still behind us," and so they just start doing all kinds of nutty stuff to try to get away from him, but they can't shake him. It's a thrill ride. It is a capital T thriller. The acting is top shelf. It's great acting. And the guy, and the protagonist, because Hans is such a jerk, you don't know whether to root for him, but at a certain point, you start feeling sorry for him because he is outmatched.
Right. So go see
All right.
Bumper
You
Cleave,
can rent
Bumper
it
Cleave.
on Prime and
I
Google and movies and all that stuff. It's available for rent.
Don't
Is
see
it?
the barge people.
Is it out
Yeah.
yet? Okay.
Yep.
Get Tailgate. Also, Gaia is available on Amazon Prime for $7.
Woo!
Cool.
So not
Come
super
on,
cheap,
Well, this
but
one's
it's-
only $3.99. So
There you go.
There
Oh
you go.
God, that's a total steal. It is. It's really good. It's really, really good. But
All
you
right.
have subtitles though, but don't let that scare you.
Since we're running along, I
we
am
are.
going to come up with a horror short, and it's a horror short that I saw on Sunday, and it is called Hello.
Yes.
This is a film that you can't see quite yet, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. It is, I think it ran about 15 or so minutes. This involves the very first silent film actor,
Florence Lawrence.
the very first movie star, Florence Lawrence, who is an actual person. And I did read up a little bit about Florence Lawrence, and it was really fascinating. But it involves a young woman who moves into Florence Lawrence apartment building, and Florence Lawrence was famous for having Hollywood sort of pass her by, and she sat by her phone day in, night in, night out, day in,
all the time.
what you
all the time, 100% of the time. She sat by her phone waiting for her agent to call her and tell her she had another opportunity, another filmmaking opportunity. And of course, that filmmaking opportunity never came, and she ended up killing herself by eating rat poison.
Ant paste.
Ant paste.
Wow.
Not rat poison, ant paste.
That's
And
a real thing.
Yeah. And so the young woman moves into the apartment building, and she herself is an aspiring young actress. And she is forced to contend with possibly the ghost of Florence Lawrence. It's a great film. We're hopeful that as soon as, either way, as soon as it comes out, we will definitely notify you, good listeners, but we will also try to get up more information about this as soon as humanly possible. Do you
Cool.
recall the director's name?
I have it right here.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, I managed to get to touch base with him after the
Yeah.
film. Said, "Hey, listen, when are you gonna whenever you're ready to release that?" He says in about 6 weeks.
Yeah. So we could be seeing it here real soon. Hello.
So, hello.
Cool.
Directed by Tim Scheckmeister.
Yeah. Tim Scheckmeister knows what he's doing.
It was really, and it's a wonderful production, and interlaced with just enough information about Florence Lawrence that you go, "That's interesting," and then once you find out it's real, it's like, "Oh, no way!"
Yeah. But I will tell you this. I have never been so scared at a horror short in my entire life.
There were three
What?
of us
All right,
sitting
I
side
gotta
by
see
side,
that.
actually.
It's really it is a really, really terrifying film. And I thought, because mostly either horror films or a lot of the horror shorts are either like really artsy and kind of uppity and snooty and not really that great, or they're really, really hysterical and funny. And it's very, very few and far between are the ones that like get right into the scares and really legitimately scare you.
Right. Without, that was this. It helps that you have this wonderful backstory, and that's what makes this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And the fact that it turns out the director's, this was in the director's apartment, and apparently Florence Lawrence's apartment was directly upstairs from his.
Right.
And so that's how he found out about it. It was like, oh man, that's serendipity.
Yeah.
So we'll get that posted once we can.
All right. I gotta add this one to my blocks.
Yeah.
Make sure I see this.
Yeah.
So there we are, halfway through 2021.
Okay, so I got to ask you guys real quickly before we get out of here. What is the one film you absolutely can't wait to see in the second half of 2021? What is that film?
I'll let Liz go while I think about this a little bit.
I know I haven't thought, but I'm gonna say top of my head, I'm feeling like it's gonna be Candyman.
Oh yeah, good choice.
Yeah, that was going to be what I was going to say. I think that I've been really looking forward to Candyman.
Okay, I'm Halloween Kills.
Yeah, you got to be Halloween Kills.
Halloween
I know,
Kills.
huh?
Although I think the stuff that we're going to get at Popcorn Frights. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be working through.
A lot of really cool looking
so
stuff.
Who knows?
Yeah, there is.
Because the track record of Popcorn Frights is it had stuff like Satan's Slaves. It had Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Yep.
It had Come to Daddy. It had Mayhem, and it just a huge roster of everything that seems to end up on Shudder,
Right.
and was at Popcorn Fright. So it's a little bit less art house, but not quite big studio fare.
So check back in the coming weeks.
Yeah,
Because
so
the
that's what I was
website is
gonna
going to be
say. Watch-
cram-packed full of reviews.
Watch our website.
Scariest things.
Yeah, Scariest
.com.
Things. So
One T.
one last bit of grave digging is want to shout out a congratulations and best of luck to our friend David. He's got a big movie coming out, folks. You may have heard of it. It's called The Suicide Squad, and he's going to be Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, heck
Yep.
yeah.
And from everything that we've been hearing, it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Oh my God.
Oh wow, awesome.
And he apparently is the breakout star. So this is David's big. This will be the biggest movie. This is his biggest role, and couldn't be happier for him.
Yep. Good job,
So,
David.
anyways,
Good job,
Good
David.
job.
So we'll be back to you shortly, bringing what do we got next?
Tricks and traps.
Tricks and traps
Tricks
and
and
puzzles.
Yep.
So no taglines today, but we'll catch you next week or 2 weeks
In the future.
in the future.
In the future.